What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mark Show. We're back here for a review and discussion of episode 4 of the ESPN documentary The Last Dance of Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. So once again, I'm back here with Jason Verpel and I guess Chris Sale. So Chris, you gonna go first for this episode. But pretty much, give this episode one word that you describe it in.
Petty.
Yeah.
I say that because Jordan was petty, and so was Isaiah. But I loved it. That series, and just seeing how pissed off it made them both, and just seeing Jordan's reaction to this day. He still hates that man. I love it. It's beautiful.
Yes, they do not like each other at all. To this, they literally hate each other. That's hilarious. What about you, Jason? One word to describe this episode.
Baptism. So pretty much I say baptism is because we have to be baptized before we go ahead and claim the chip and claim our seat on the throne. Back then, including now, everything needed to be earned. It wasn't given to you, so you had to go through your heartaches, your headaches, and your trials and tribulations to go ahead and figure things out. And then once you become champ, then the next step is to stay on top.
Okay, cool. For me, it would be, I had to think about this one. This one, I had to really think about one word. And the one, I guess, best to explain it would be genius. It being, I guess, this was a Phil Jackson episode, kind of, mostly Phil Jackson, from his upbringing. And one thing I didn't realize, everywhere he went, he won a championship. Everywhere. I didn't know that. Literally every league he's been to, he's won a championship. And from him getting the triangle offense pretty much from Tex Winter, and getting implemented, like that man was a genius in so many ways. And trying to get Michael to buy in, say, hey, just buy in. Dude, Paxton, he's open. Right there, that man right there, giving the ball. He's open. Mm-hmm. And I guess with Jerry Krause, he thought he was smart by pretty much releasing the news, hey, Phil's gone after this, right before that game with the Jazz. I guess in his mind, he thought that was the right play. And we all know that was totally the wrong play.
I understand because he made the move to replace Doug Collins, who improved the Bulls, made Michael even more of a bigger star than he already was becoming. But just give him the ball to Mike and get the hell out of the way approach, it just wasn't working. It would get you eliminated. You would never get to the finals doing that. So bringing in Phil was really smart on Cross's. I give Cross credit for that. He knew that it was not going to work with Doug. He brought in Phil, and after the triangle really got implemented and learned, Bulls took off, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And speaking real fast, I know, Jason, you want to say something. Chris, speaking of isolation, I really hope a certain person or people watch this episode about isolation, how one person don't win a game, i.e. Houston Rockets, Dan Tony, James Harden.
Should be more towards the coach, because it takes a coach who knows. Listen, we all know who the coach is of the Rockets, and he is very stubborn. So we'll see what happens when there's a new voice in that locker room.
Yeah. But man, Phil was a hippie. He could have grew up in Austin real well. You could tell he was a piehead at one point, took an acid. You could tell he was the stone cold hippie.
Mm-hmm. And the LSD too, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it is an interesting path in regards to him because they used to always, go back to his New York Knicks days. And, I think he won 2 championships with them. He was like the 6th man or 7th man on the team. Played a lot of the enforcer role, rebounder, defender, or whatnot. But this dude was eclectic, man. He went a little bit of everywhere. He could be in a party city, in a rough party city in Puerto Rico, or he could just be hanging out in Montana with your boy Yeezy. Um, but outside of that, Yeezy's in Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, two different states.
Yeah.
But anyway, but same concept.
Same difference.
But same concept. So basically, it's just kind of like, listening to Tex Winter, because they had Tex Winter and Johnny Bach. They were both awesome assistant coaches. You have to understand that Doug Collins was an emotional dude. He was the one that was like always flipping out on the sidelines. And to have Phil, his mind, his zen, his calming influence, that no matter what the situation is, we're going to stay the course. We're going to stay who we are. That makes a world of a difference.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still love Doug Collins to this day. I actually went to his basketball camp when I was in 4th grade. But, this dude, he's the one who put us on the map, helped put us on the map even before Phil took over. So, yeah.
I was listening to ESPN Radio, and who was it that was on there? I think it was Real Purdue was on ESPN Radio, and he was talking about how at practice, because Phil had back problems, and so Phil wasn't the one running the practices. It was Tex Winter running the offense, and was it you said Bach running the defense?
Yes, Johnny Bach was the defense, and Tex Winter was the offense.
Yeah, and you saw Phil kind of just like circle the court. He'll just walk around and make sure everything's implemented correctly, kind of deal. That's what he did. He pretty much brought a NFL type coaching staff to the NBA, and it worked.
Yeah, but
one of the key pieces from that, when they got Michael to start trusting his teammates, he really saw the Bulls become that real championship contender. Because before, they're kind of like how the Rockets are. They'll get you to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they're not going to beat the upper echelon teams just because they didn't have the right game plan to beat the top teams. So that's showing that genius of Tex Winters and Phil coming together and showing Michael, hey, look, you don't have to do it all by yourself. You got Scotty. Scotty's a star in the making. We got to get him going, get him developed. You got some role players who know their roles and can shoot. Horace Grant was coming into his own. And then that offseason, after they lost to the Pistons for, I think, the 3rd time, where they all stayed behind, Michael became more of a vocal leader. They all started working out harder, pushing themselves, especially Michael, and then came back that next year ready to break some backs, which is exactly what they did. It was just incredible to watch because it shows you a team that went through hell the previous seasons and finally come out. It's like heaven at the end. So,
it was real interesting to watch in regards to when they made a connection to Phil Jackson, because he becomes coach in 1990, and they actually lose in the Eastern Conference Finals that year to the Pistons. They didn't necessarily say that. They kind of skipped over that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
They skipped over that, and it wasn't until the very next year, which is 91. No, they actually did. They did. I apologize. They did, because they didn't go over the series. They just went straight to the 7th game, because the 7th game that's Pippen's migraine game.
Yeah.
So he had, man, trust me, dude. What I'm trying to tell you, back then when I was a kid, we getting hammered, like just fans just hammered alone, man. Just hearing about Scottie Pippen and his migraines and so forth. Like that became a thing for like a 3-4 year, like almost like 3 years. I kept hearing about Pippen's migraine, like as a joke. You know what I mean? And even if we won in 91 and we won again in 92, like you were still hearing about Scottie, and because the ascension of Scottie Pippen isn't as, let's say, molded is the way they're depicting it in the series so far. He had a lot of bumps along the way. He had a lot of he would turn the ball over. He would sometimes mess up in key moments that they didn't go over. Do you see what I'm saying? They went from Scottie pretty much dominating in high school, Scottie dominating in college, to him coming into the league. And then they go straight to prime Scottie from 92 to 98. But Scotty had some growing pains there too, and so did Horace Grant. But they kind of smoothed over that. They didn't really like touch on that too much.
Yeah.
Because that's why, for example, you'll see TNT does this thing called open court, right? Where they have all of their TNT greats, announcers and so forth. Like they get in a room and they just be talking about different things that had happened when they were playing, right? Different players that they played and whatever. So that's why Isaiah was like, man, what are you talking about? Who's talking about me? You talking about Scottie Pippen? Because he doesn't look at Scottie Pippen from 92 Scottie Pippen the way most people know, 92 to 98 Pippen. He's thinking of Pippen from 87 to 90. That dude used to fall apart a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they didn't necessarily, they didn't cover. But it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool.
That's true. One of the key advantages the Pistons had in those series was Scottie wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't mentally ready. He was physically there, but I mean, in terms of playing basketball, he had the skills. He just wasn't mentally. They would beat him down, and he would right. So that's why in that episode, when in 91, when the Bulls swept the Pistons 4-0, when Scottie gets knocked down by Dennis into the stands, the fact that Pippen didn't trip, he didn't whine, he didn't cry. And he was like, all right, we just here to play basketball. We're going to whoop your ass anyway, so there's no reason. Mm-hmm. I think that was a turning point. And I think they mentioned it in the story as well, that was a huge turning point because normally what would happen is that the Bulls would self-destruct.
Yeah. Especially now with that happening, which leads into the, I guess, handshaking gate of the situation.
Yes. Yes.
Petty.
Like, come on. Come on.
Who was that who called them some bitches? Who was that? Was that Horace Grant? Horace Grant was like, these some bitches.
Oh, that was great.
Love it.
Oh, that was great. And then George about, I don't want to see that shit. You can't change my mind. Don't show me no video. Like, if you like watch the video they do, it's right here. Like, come on now. Like, just, boy. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing is that, and I wish, this is hard to say, that I wish they would have just given like Isaiah 30 seconds of his due. You see what I'm saying? Because number one, he agreed, whether he got paid or not, I'm not sure, to take part in the documentary, right? Number two, he understands how the documentary is going to paint him, and he still did it anyway. Number three, he was Chicago's number one basketball player to ever come out that city.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? We've had a lot of greats and so forth, but he was number one. He was Mr. Chicago until Mike came along, and Mike ain't even from Chicago. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there was a jealousy that was between him and Mike because Mike comes in, takes the city by storm, and everybody forgets about Isaiah because, number one, Isaiah plays for our rival now. But this dude is straight up West Side Chicago, man, Isaiah Thomas. So I wish they would have said something about that. You see what I'm saying? Because he still has a love in Chicago, kind of like how Derrick Rose has a love in Chicago.
It's how it goes when you don't play for the home team. Most of the time you wish the player goes to the other conference and dominates there, but not in the conference where the home team plays, so he can kick their ass every year over and over and over again. So, but it is weird. But Isaiah was right at the time. Yeah, that's just the way it was going down in the league. Celtics weren't shaking nobody's hands, congratulating them on winning. So the 76ers weren't doing that. With Dr. J's Sixers, they weren't shaking nobody's hands. They congratulating for whooping our ass. Just left the court. It was like, yeah, all right, whatever, fuck y'all. Just left.
See, but the part of what Isaiah said was bullshit was right. It would have been one thing had the game was over and them motherfuckers walked off the court. These motherfuckers walked off the court. It was still 8 seconds left in the game. Like, it was 8 seconds left in the game. They was like, we out of here.
Deuces.
Like, it was a staged. It was like, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
Still, to be honest with you, I get more pleasure out of that than probably anything. Still to this day, that when you finally slayed a dragon, they walked off like bullies that they are. They walked off like some bitches. They took their basketball home.
Pretty much. Oh man,
You know what I mean? Like, it was like his argument would have been cool with me. I would have been halfway acceptable had the game been over and they just didn't shake hands. They went their own way. They went to their own tunnel, whatever. Nah, there was a fucking timeout. They were coming out of the timeout, and the players coming back on the court. And Detroit was like, "Get out of here."
Yeah, petty. I love it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that they had to walk past the Bulls bench
yes.
to get
out of
the tunnel. So it wasn't like they were walking out the other way. They walked right past him.
Wow. I think that's why they have them leave at different sections now. They don't go through the same exit no more.
Mm-hmm.
Split them up because that would be a fight.
So, a question for you guys: is there anything about the documentary that you don't like?
I think they really are skipping over some key like moments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the camera's been following them around that entire season, I think they kind of glossing over some stuff that was probably important and integral to the entire story. You know, they're trying to hit some high points mostly, not a lot of low points, which I get. You don't want to impress people, but you know, there's definitely some key details I know they're kind of skipping over.
Yeah,
like how you already mentioned the development of Pippen and Horace. There was no mention of how they struggled before then. They pretty much made it sound like they were stars already.
Right.
You know? So it would add more to the journey if it was really delved into how difficult it was for those teams to overcome those Pistons because the other guys weren't mentally ready for that challenge. Other than saying Michael was just getting beat up. I mean, yeah, he was getting beat up, but he wasn't by himself getting beat up. So I think and I knew it was going to happen. ESPN the story is mostly centered around Michael. We all know that. But, you know, give a little more context to the other guys that came up with him that had to grow and had to learn as well. So that's what I don't like about it.
Right. Yeah, I'm with Chris on that one. You see, so far there's 6 more episodes to go. And so far, they showed a preview of the Dream Team episode. I hope they do an episode of the role players because honestly, I know they have the footage of the fight between him and Steve Kerr. I know they have it. I know they have the footage of when Jordan punched Will Purdue.
Why would they have the footage of that?
It was during that '98 season. It was during that whole season when you punched him or something, or '96, one of the seasons when you punched him.
Okay, so I think this might be a little confusing to me as well as maybe to other people. The film crew only followed them for the 90s. Everything else is just like archive videos that they're using, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and as far as I know, practices up until that '98 seasons were not being filmed.
Okay.
So there was who's it? Rachel Nichols Rachel Nichols, who's an ESPN who hosted the Jump.
Yeah.
ESPN mentions that when she was a reporter there, and she was a reporter there in the last 2 years, '97 and '98, that the reporters would be there. They had a tarp that would come down over the glass, so you could not see the practice, and then they would lift the tarp up about anywhere between 15 to 12 minutes before practice is over. So they can only watch that last bit of part of practice before they opened up the room for interviews for the reporters.
Oh, I would think they would have that covered too, but behind closed doors, like a couple of practices film kind of deal. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of weird because I understand that they're giving everyone this backstory of how we got to '98. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think in part of let me answer my own question is what disappoints you more, if there's anything that disappoints you about it. I don't like how, unless they're about to go back and rehash it again, which I don't think they went through the Lakers series way too fast.
Yes.
So they spent this whole entire time of us trying to get over this hurdle of Detroit, And then it's kind of like beating Magic Johnson and the Lakers is just
It's an afterthought.
you know, they send it like we beat the Orlando Magic in the finals, not Magic Johnson. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I didn't like. I thought they rushed it. I thought they should have just ended that thing right there, right where with the sweep of Detroit, them arriving at the airport in Chicago, and then just left everything else for like next week.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? To kind of give the NBA Finals in context. And because I thought that they were trying to do in the very beginning is they understand that people, they're like my age, your age, and so forth, who might have witnessed some of this. But I thought that they were trying to speak to the younger generation, the guys who are like maybe 27 and younger, who have no idea, have heard all these stories, and all they got is YouTube. So this is kind of getting context of how crazy this phenomenon was, right?
Yeah.
And that's Magic Johnson, Joe. That's like the Magic. That's Magic Johnson. That's Irvin Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Like that's
do Magic any favors at all in that. Just showing that he lost in 5 games to Michael. So
yeah. So like no, man. That's like at that point in time, if you beat the Celtics or you beat the Lakers, that's
made it
right. So it's not like they sat there and it would have been one thing. So because like for example, Portland should have beat the Lakers that year. Portland had went to the finals the year before and lost to the Pistons, right? In 1990. They get to the Western Conference Finals and lose against the Lakers in '91. The Lakers actually go to the finals, but Portland technically had a better team that year, and then Portland makes it back to the finals in '92. Still with me?
Yeah.
The fact that Magic had made it in order to, and then sit there with thing, and that was kind of like the passing of the torch, because what they're probably not going to cover, or they might cover, is that Magic contracts the HIV virus like literally months after the '91 finals.
Okay.
So they probably won't even do it too deep. Maybe they'll touch on it on the dream team.
Yeah.
A little on the dream team, but yeah, I think that should have been a little bit more context. I'm sure Magic had quite a bit to say about facing Mike in that finals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mike would probably have a lot to say about that too. But
mm-hmm.
like I said, this one's definitely some context they've been skipping across.
Right, because and another thing too is about the '91 finals is that even though in 5 games, we had to find ourselves all over again. The Bulls had to find themselves all over. After they beat Detroit, it was kind of like we're gonna sigh of relief. We get to the finals, there's all this hoopla stuff. The Lakers had been there 1,000 times before. They had all the experience and whatnot. And even during that first game, we played like shit. We lost by 2 points. But that whole series, you can see the Bulls gaining confidence to figure out who they were with. And then they talk about the end where Mike's passing the ball to Paxson because he was always open and Paxson hitting the shots. It was kind of like all of their struggles in the very beginning is all microcosm into that one series, into the Lakers series. It's almost like we started all over, but by the end, we figured out who we were. Because the Lakers took us out of context a couple times during that series.
And they figured it out.
Yeah. Yep.
I think one way they figured out by putting Pippen on Magic and just locking that man down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that man in solitary confinement. Another smart defensive play.
Yes. That's coaching. Coaching. Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, I don't want to get off subject, but if you talk about the Houston Rockets, I mean, their formula works regular season, especially when you are facing a different opponent almost every night, and they don't necessarily have the time to implement sets and so forth and strategy to beat you like in a 7-game series, right? 7-game series, they can lock in, they can take away the first and second best thing that you're doing, and you have to force to do the third best thing you do in order to win. That's what the good teams do. And D'Antoni is so focused on, this hard net point and just shooting threes and so forth, which is a dope system. I mean, but you have to have 2 or 3 other ways to play. They need to be able to play post-up basketball if needed. They need to be able to run some other sets if they didn't change their style, whether it's more of a half-court team or they need to focus more on the fast break. They need to be able to switch the styles up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I like how, I think it was Paxton, he acknowledged technically Pippen was the very first point forward.
Mm-hmm. He was.
Pretty much. He acknowledged, because people say, yeah, I played point in high school. I played point all the time. And so with the triangle offense, it worked in his skill set.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, John Paxson played point guard, but that dude couldn't handle a rock. All he could do was shoot. I'm trying to tell you, like, he could shoot and he could play, some defense. He stuck his nose in there. But passing the ball, dribbling the ball.
He was a 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
That's what he was.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, but I'm enjoying this whole series. It's nice because I get to hang out with my kids and they get to see visuals of stories that I've told them and arguments that we've had on a road trip. Steph Curry would have dropped 40 on my team. Like, you must be out your mind, boy. We'll put that boy in a box and ship him back to San Francisco. Who's gonna hold? No, I'm just playing though. But no, it was like they favorite players. You know what I mean? Like they'll mention thing, and I'd be like, look, there's certain players I'd be able to play. There's certain players like like they'd be good players, but they wouldn't be able to do the same thing that they're doing now.
Yeah. But you gotta get that one. Oh, you might agree.
I think it all depend on what rules are we playing by. When they talk about greatest teams and all that, that's what I have to ask. What rules are we playing by? Are we playing by the modern NBA's rules where no hand checking and, how they call the fouls? Or you talking about, the late 80s, early 90s rules? You can do some hand checking. You be physical. You can have that guy in the paint that'll clobber you upside the head if you try to drive down the lane.
Yeah.
All that. Because that's a whole different context. When you can get your head knocked off and they only call it a regular common foul, they play a little differently. So that's why I mean, debates is always great, but we have to know about the context. What are the rules? What's the circumstances we're talking about before we can say this team will beat this team? Because if let's talk about the Warriors, consider the greatest team in the assemble, and they go face the 72-win Bulls with the rules at that time. The Bulls should win that easily because it's not going to the rules are going to be more catered to that team and what that team's strengths are defensively compared to what the Warriors are. Because the Warriors didn't play the defense the way the Bulls play defense. They could probably shoot like crazy, but they can't play that same level of defense. So it's all.
So was it just me or was Phil Jackson just tall? Like when they would show him coaching, it was like he was taller than everybody on the court.
So what's Phil Jackson? How tall is Phil Jackson? Like 6'9", 6'10"? I don't think he's 7 foot.
Nah, he's not 7 foot.
He's just lanky. He lanky. He like maybe 6'10" or something. He like Kevin McHale. He lanky like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
he can't walk now.
Oh, I could imagine that back is like killing him. Yeah, because
when I was working for the Clippers in LA, I used to sit down and watch at lunch. I used to watch the Lakers practice. I mean, that dude would sit there and he looked like when he's walking, he looked like he's getting ready to drop a deuce. That was like 10 years ago. That was like 11 years ago. Like, come on, Phil. Hey, Scotty.
I look at those tall players from back in the day with Phil and Bird playing. You see how they move and how they walk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, man, they got beat up.
Oh yeah,
their bodies are just destroyed, man.
falling apart.
I should do those NFL players in the 80s and 90s too. If you ever see them, like anywhere, like man, them dudes struggling to walk.
I see Earl Campbell, how he looks these days, and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
Hey, I did. Not on subject. I met Mean Joe Green, like
Mhm.
3 or 4 years ago. But that man there is he massive.
Mhm.
Walks straight up, fro still, big old Pittsburgh still the Super Bowl ring on his finger. That's a big man.
Yeah.
And to this day, like you like, oh yeah, it's ridiculous. No man should be this size.
Yeah. The only person that's ever made me feel like that was I don't know if you remember this dude named Terry Cummings.
It sounds familiar.
Terry Cummings he's from Chicago. He played for the Milwaukee Bucks. He played for San Antonio Spurs for a couple of years.
Okay.
Probably right around the time that David Robinson got there.
Oh, yeah.
Right around there. That dude was massive. I was like, man, I was playing in this Pro-Am tournament when I was like, I think I was like 17, 16, somewhere around there. And the dude was on the court, and I'm looking at dude like dude, he's just so like it wasn't like he was just tall. The dude was like 6'8", but he was just like built like a truck. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't lifting weights like a truck. Like this old country grown built like a truck. Country strong.
That's funny.
Yeah, Terry Cummings, man. Jeez.
I remember him. I remember back in Highland Mall, you was still popping back in the middle of Austin. I was walking into the mall. Walking out was Vince Young.
Mm-hmm.
He was already drafted by Tennessee Titans. I got a picture with him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize the tip of my head was at his shoulder.
That's crazy.
That's another big guy too. I mean, in person, he's massive. I didn't realize. I'm like, oh my god, like dude. And after I remember seeing videos of, when he was getting sacked, they had to have like 3 or 4 guys take him down. When he was playing with Tennessee, I remember that. I was like, I see that. I see why. You
go to this restaurant before they close that thing down.
Do what?
I gotta go to Vince's Steakhouse before they close that thing down.
Oh boy!
But I'm not laughing. I'm just saying, like I've lived here like what 11. I've lived here 10 years and I still haven't been to that restaurant. You know what I mean? So I gotta go do at least once.
Yeah. Same here, man. I need to check that restaurant before they shut the doors.
Right. Yeah. Have you been there? You guys been there?
I've never been there.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't.
I know it's expensive. That's all I've heard.
I know you two fellas be taking the wifeys to a lavish dinners.
Nah, not Vision Steakhouse.
Yeah, other than Steiner Ranch, I haven't been to Bowley Vincent's Steakhouse is on a different level.
Okay.
Very much so.
Maybe 5-year anniversary, but not just random date night.
Yeah, but for this episode, it's not too bad. It's like I said, it was mostly about Phil and his Zen and him teaching, I guess, more yoga Zen type stuff during practices. The whole one mind, one body kind of deal to get them in line and stuff. So pretty interesting on his small little background that we got, mostly of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another thing that you noticed. I didn't notice that he won on every level.
Yeah, that's the first thing when they show him. I'm like, hold on, because I don't know if you saw the commercial when they showed like he's never had a losing season ever.
Yeah,
and,
20 years never lost.
Yeah, but then with showing him when he went to Puerto Rico and was it ABL league?
Yeah.
Like he won everywhere. I'm like, damn, okay. Mm-hmm. That's impressive.
It just shows you what kind of that man's life's been charmed. I'll tell you that. He won as a player. He won as a coach. And only thing he hasn't won is as an executive. He hasn't won as an executive. So,
right.
He hasn't won quite every level yet.
That is true. Well, it's the
Jerry
it's,
West
it's the
still looks.
Knicks, so it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for you. What is the one thing that you want them to talk about before the series ends? Now that we've already gotten 4 episodes in.
All right, Daniel, you first.
Uh, now I wonder. I wonder if they're gonna bring up anything dealing with his dad's death. I wonder going because it was nice seeing his dad at the first championship. I remember that. I remember that very vividly. Watching that game, I remember his dad was there to console him, and I know Jordan was a big gambler. We all knew that, and that kind of deal. I wonder if he's going to talk about that inning of how that affected him at some point, or I guess going to retirement the first time in that kind of deal. I wonder if he's going to talk about that at all, like anything dealing with his dad's death.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Because I know how he felt, meaning Mike. I know how he felt about the whole gambling thing.
Yeah.
He felt like he had got to a certain point, and like most American athletes, they were trying to find something to tear him down. Like they've done pretty much damn near every mega celebrity of minority descent forever. You see what I'm saying? Like okay, as long as everybody making money off you, you're good. But when we start to see something or whatever, we're gonna try to, bring you down. And they try to bring him down on that gambling. But he said he always paid off his debts. He said he's competitive that way or whatever. He mentioned, I don't know if he mentioned in this show or mentioned it before. He was like, man, dude, he was like, Juanita was his wife at the time. She's a lawyer and she manages the finances in our home. She ain't never told me nothing about like I was spending something or I was acting wild, and she'd be the first one to tell me. So I'm not gonna let you guys tell me that that it's an issue. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of think, because a lot of people think that they attribute him going to Atlantic City after a playoff game in '92 when they were playing against the Knicks. I think it was '92, and then in '93 his father dies. And lots of people think that it's because he didn't pay a debt and they killed his father as show an example to him. So that's always been the rumor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then there's always been a rumor that he was suspended secretly by the NBA for 18 months. In the meantime, he went to go play baseball because of his gambling habit. So that's what they used to say, but over time, I guess it kind of like loses wind or whatever, because no one can prove that it's real. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what they were saying at the time for sure. Yep. I guess for me, the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to them talk about, is that what you said, Chris?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to literally the aftermath after '98, because what happens is that they tell Phil Jackson he's not coming back. Mike retires. There is a strike that year, a labor strike. They end up only playing like 50 games. It was like a 50-game season, right? Which would have gave Mike and the Bulls plenty of time to recover. Or if he decided that he wanted to go play for another franchise, which I thought at the time that the New York Knicks had taken a step back, like after they failed to win against the Rockets in '94 and '95. And then I think they had one more attempt at it right around '96, and they kind of blew up that team, right? So the Knicks that you know of that were like the enforcers in the early '90s, by the time '96 comes around, '97, they're no more, right? Because they missed their window of opportunity when Mike retired and they couldn't beat the Rockets. So they had rebuilt the team around Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell.
Mm-hmm.
And this was
Larry Johnson.
Yeah, this is only a year or two after Latrell had choked the shit out of BJ Carmelissimo. He choked the shit out of him.
At a practice, no less.
Practice, practice. Yeah. So basically, there was this like underground tone that Mike could go play for the Knicks. Okay, during that NBA shortened season, the Knicks ended up going to the finals. They weren't expected to go there, but they went to the finals and they lost to Tim Duncan and David Robinson during that year. That's the first Duncan championship.
Yeah.
But if you put Mike there at shooting guard or small forward, that's a different – with that team, that's a different thing. That's I don't know if San Antonio wins.
Man, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing that would be interesting to see, how they're going to shape up the what ifs. What if Scotty got traded for Sean Kemp? What if Scotty got traded for Tracy McGrady? What if joined the Knicks after the season and played the 99 season and the next 2 years for the Knicks, probably before retiring again. But also during that year, someone, or I was reading somewhere that he had cut his finger on a cigar. Cut his, how you cut open the cigars, like the end?
Yeah.
He sliced his finger all the way down here. And so he had to wait to heal, and that's why he just stayed in retirement.
And you know something? Speaking of trade, did you see the part where Pippen mentioned that, I guess during that time they asked him, so what made you change your mind? He was like, yeah, about the team, whatever. But then they talked to him more recently. He was like, he wanted to be traded. He would have took any trade out there, but they knew they couldn't trade me. We all know that's a lie because Jordan stopped the trades that he's going to get for that man.
Right.
I wonder, like you said, that's another one. Would they ever bring that up at all about the trades? Like, hey, here's the trade we offer, and Jordan mentioned, yes, I stopped the trade, or they're going to just kind of bypass that completely.
To be honest with you, I thought that was the opportunity to do that during that episode when they brought it back up again, and they didn't. They didn't address it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Why bring it up at all? Just save it for like episode 5 and 6 to kind of rehash that, to bring us back to that. Because eventually they got to, get back into 98 again, right? Yeah. So when they decide they want to get back into 98, they just say Pippen came back from injury, and then they started, and then they got into Dennis's situation. They didn't. To me, they didn't wrap up what.
They didn't wrap up anything that was going on with Pippen at the time.
Exactly.
It was just like, well, he decided to come back.
Right.
Okay. Because there was some interesting trades that we've learned about that were rumored to take place with Scotty that never happened. I mean, the Sean Kemp idea was one. The Tracy McGrady one was another one. There was some trades where you kind of look, who knows what might happen. But what this series has shown me is it was abundantly clear they were going to be done. Everybody knew they were going to be done as far as that construction of that team was done at the end of the year. And there really was no saving it,
And you know what they gave me? They gave me Eddie Curry and Tyson Chandler. Gave me Ron.
Yeah, 6 championships out of it, man. So, hey.
They gave me Ron Mercer and
no, you mean Metta World Peace.
I forgot.
No, that was after. Wasn't that after?
Yeah, it was after. I'm messing with it.
After Metta World Peace. Ron Artest.
What's the Lakers version? Yeah, I'm messing with it.
No, but Ron Artest, you're right though. That was the draft. That was a couple years later because Ron Artest gets drafted with Elton Brand.
Yes.
Yeah, because. Ooh, hold on, dude. Where's my timeline at? No, you might be right. Hold on. Because Ron Artest rookie year, when I was working for ESPN Zone downtown Chicago, he used to come in about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And true story, he used to come in and ask me, can he use the public bathroom privately?
Okay.
Okay. So long story short, have you guys ever been to an ESPN Zone before?
No.
No. Okay. So ESPN Zone was a restaurant first and foremost. They had an arcade area where it was kind of like almost like the Wii before the Wii. You know, they had all different games that you can play or whatever. And then they had a sports arena where you can watch the main event on a like 16-foot screen, and then we had like you had 4 additional TVs on each side. I'm sorry, no. So you had 6 additional TVs on each side. That makes 12. The big screen makes 13. So we'd have all different live events on. You had the recliners, and it was like kind of restaurant-ish. And then the main restaurant was downstairs. So I was like in the middle, and I was doing a production coordinator job. And I was still in college then. And so you'd have to walk past where I was to get up to the second floor. And one night, so opening night, I meet Elton Brand, Ron Artest. What's that model's name with the big ass forehead?
Tyra Banks.
Tyra Banks was there. The number 24 who drives the NASCAR drug car.
No.
DuPont car. Jeff Gordon. So all them were there, so I get to meet and greet and all these guys or whatever, right? And so I had to sit there and speak because I had to let them know what we do in terms of audio, visual, whatever. So I meet Ron. So like 2 weeks later, Ron shows up. He's like, hey, Jay, I need you to do me a favor. I got to drop a deuce. I got to go to the bathroom. Where can I go? Can I go to an employee? I was like, man, I got this area right here. You go. So he went up there and then said thank you on the way out. Now, all of a sudden, every weekend, this dude is stopping there to drop a deuce because he's out having a good time, and he decides he wants to come to ESPN to drop his shits. Ron fucking Artest. His rookie year. Pfizer was on that team too. Marcus Pfizer. I remember him and his sister. His sister was fine. Yeah, man. These motherfuckers, man. Ron Artest, you dropping the shit, motherfucker. You. Yeah, man. He was cool though. He was good. He was good.
Oh man.
But he would be hanging out downtown, and I don't know if he felt safe anywhere. He felt like this was his place where he could have peace and quiet. So he'd come up there and let his people play the games. You know, he's of course Entourage Street. 5, 6 people with him, whatever. Let them play the games while he go handle his business.
Like go drop a deuce.
Drop a deuce. You thinking he could go smash a chick or something like that? Nah, dude, gonna drop a deuce.
Oh man.
Even on days when I wasn't there, he'd come up there and the people were like, "Hey man, Ron Artest looking for you." I was like, "What do you want? What did he want?" Yeah, man, young Ron Artest, dude. Young Ron Artest, built like a push.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's my Ron Artest story.
Yeah.
That brand was always cool. He was always like Mr. Smooth. You know what I mean? He was like, he talked like this, and like he. Playing for New Edition or something like that.
Oh man! And on that note, this is the end of this video.
Oh shit! I forgot we're still doing the show. All right, my bad. I shouldn't even told that story.
That's
all right. Too late for that.
Yeah, too late for that. All right, cool.
Anyway, Jason, go ahead and give us your socials.
Social media at Instagram is Jason Verpil.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Okay. Cut. Let's do it all over again.
Okay.
Right.
Nah, that's it. But Jason Purple Instagram.
Yes, you can find me at Jason Verpil at Instagram.
All right, and Chris.
You find me out and about.
That's what I'm talking about, babe, right there. And you can find me at The Mark Show here, of course, on YouTube and as well as Instagram. And that's it for you guys' video. That's what this video. Please thumbs up. It's on the screen right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, video. Like, subscribe, and share the video to people. Excuse me. And that's it. Now, where's my baby Zoe? We'll see you next time. Peace.